You're watching The Perch. A hawk's eye view of SU.
Welcome to The Perch, the new outlet for Simpson sports, college sports, professional sports, news and entertainment for you, the students. This is the first inaugural episode of this new project that I want to do. What's going on, guys? I'm your host, Cole McMahon. I'm a pitcher for the baseball team. I'm an RA for Cooper Third Floor and a digital media student, alongside here with my other host, Jacob Greene.
Yeah, I'm a RA on Third Floor Thompson. I'm a college angler with the Simpson Bass Fishing Team and also a digital media student, frequent podcaster, avid sports fan, broadcaster, editor of the Slate, a couple other things. I play bass.
I like it. I'm also the staff writer for the Slate, so I work under him there. And I've also done the football broadcast as his color analyst, which was super fun this season. So anyway, guys, the plan for the Perch is to be able to just have these fun conversations with you guys about sports, entertainment, anything really we want to talk about, because we got the freedom of speech. You know, we have the First Amendment, and we plan just to have fellow students, guests, and or interviews every episode. So obviously there's no guests or interviews happening today, partially because it's a Monday night and it's MLK Day, and this is the inaugural podcast, and we just kind of want to dip our toes in the waters here, me and Jacob. And for this inaugural episode, we're going to be talking about the NFL playoff picture, the college football natty that went on tonight, and then our men's and women's basketball teams, their home conference openers that happened this past weekend, along with a few other things and a few other surprises we have going on. So, let's just dive right into it here. The NFL divisional playoffs weekend happened. We had Rams, Eagles, Commanders, Lions, Chiefs, Texans, and I think probably the best game on the AFC side, the Bills-Ravens game. Let's start off with Rams-Eagles. The Eagles defeated the Rams 28-22, and I think the standout player for that game was Saquon Barkley. Saquon Menace, he had 2 touchdowns, rushed for 205 rushing yards, and Jacob, the craziest stat I found from this weekend was that Saquon has ran for over 460 yards against the Rams this season, which is just an absurd stat.
Yeah, that's absurd to say the least. Almost as absurd as him saying, watch this before the 70-yard run in the snow.
Yeah.
In the snow is wild.
I mean, that's every kid's dream, I feel like, to play snow football in the playoffs, to go to the conference championship game. I mean, Saquon went off, and I'm a 49ers fan, so I love seeing when the Rams lose. I hate the Rams with a passion, and I do hate the Eagles too, but I'm Team Saquon, so yeah. I had to root for my man Saquon there. But that's just insane, 205 rush yards. And I saw a stat, I think he's done it 4 times against the Rams with like 50-plus rushes, or 50-plus yards per game or something like that. He did it like 4 times against the Rams this season, which is just insane. I think for touchdown runs, something like that. But it's pretty crazy what Saquon has done on the Eagles this season, and I'm thankful that he's not on the Giants anymore. I'm thankful the GM was kind of stupid enough to get rid of him, and he went to a divisional rival. Jacob, got anything about that?
That's the stupider part of that, is trading away to a divisional rival.
Yeah.
And you can see from our jerseys, I'm an A's fan. I know all about trading players away. To a divisional rival that's rough, especially as a Giants fan.
Yeah.
If you're a New York Giants fan, my sympathy goes out to you.
And going to the Eagles team, you know, they got just hostile fans over there. So, you know, they're going to be rubbing into those Giants' faces. I'm sure they've done it all season long. Some other stats going into this Rams-Eagles game. Stafford threw for 324 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He didn't have a bad game. Just Saquon had a better game than him. I mean, he's probably one of the best NFC quarterbacks in the playoffs. At least he was. Matthew Stafford, he's got the one Super Bowl in the NFC. And then Jalen Hurts, I mean, carried by Barkley, 128 passing yards, that's it. 0 passing touchdowns. He had 1 rushing touchdown. Didn't do too much. I think one of the worst quarterbacks in the playoffs, at least he was.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's a toss-up. All the quarterbacks in the league right now, they're just kind of inconsistently consistent, apart from like Lamar and Allen, and we saw how that turned out, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But also Hurts, 1 rushing TD, I believe, was a tush push.
I think it had to have been a tush push. I feel like that's the only way he gets these rushing touchdowns now. And then just to stand out, Eagles defense, they had 5 sacks this Sunday or Saturday, I don't know, whenever the game was this weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of the biggest things. They say defense wins championships, and they had the 5 sacks, even though Stafford had a pretty decent game so far for that game. But the Eagles defense took it over. Saquon took it over for that game. Rams, Eagles. Rams went home.
I like my suitcase.
Pack your bags, Rams. You're going to Cabo this NFL offseason. And if you didn't know what that was, I like my suitcase. It's the thing we're going to be doing anytime any team goes home in the playoffs or anytime this season we just maybe don't even like a team. I like my suitcase. I don't know if you guys know, I was Barron Trump when he was a little kid, and I just think it's the most funniest thing ever. And it's, I think, a fun way to send teams packing. Next up, Commanders-Lions. Commanders playing the number 1 seed Lions. Commanders beat them 45-31, and probably the most exciting. It was the most exciting NFC playoff game so far this season. 45-31. Jaden Daniels, rookie and potential rookie of the year candidate. The lights were not too bright for him in the playoffs so far.
Not even close.
He's on his way to his first NFC conference title game. Rookie of the Year candidate. He's got 3,500 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions in the season. I mean, that's better stats than, I'd say, half of the quarterbacks in the league.
Easily. Yeah, I'd say that's top 10 quarterback right there.
Yeah.
This season especially, given the running back heavy league this year, I think, with guys like Derrick Henry, Saquon, all those guys.
Mm-hmm. Jaden Daniels. I mean, something you don't see from rookies at all. The last time we saw a rookie do this was Brock Purdy, our hometown team, 49ers. He did this. He took the team to the NFC Championship game. And then I think they would have made it to the Super Bowl if his UCL didn't get blown out of his arm.
Against the Eagles.
Against the Eagles, which is hence why I hate the Eagles so much.
Yeah, another reason.
Yeah. But the Commanders, I mean, they put up a fight against the Lions team. I expected the Lions to beat the Commanders this game because it's just a younger Commanders team, and this Lions team, they were here last year, obviously against the Niners, and the Niners came back against the Lions. But Washington scored, this was a crazy stat I saw, they scored 28 points in the second quarter, and this Lions defense, they said it was depleted. I think they had like 15 guys out on defense. But, I mean, for the Commanders to put up 45 points, I guess some people could say they could have expected it because I think the Niners didn't they put 40 points on them or maybe a little less in that Lions loss this season?
38, I think.
It's like 38. Yeah, so I guess it was kind of expected in a way, but having a rookie quarterback play that good, I mean, Jaden Daniels had 299 pass yards in the game, 2 passing touchdowns. I mean, he looked like a vet out there. The lights weren't too bright for him. And then once again, the Washington defense. The past 2 games we just talked about here held the Lions to 3 points in the fourth quarter. The Lions couldn't do anything. I mean,
another example of defense wins championships.
Yeah.
No, they haven't won yet, but they've definitely. They packed the Lions' bags first of all, but they just shut down that Lions' offense too.
You say they packed their bags?
I like my suitcase.
That's right, Lions. Get out of the playoffs. Go to Cabo. I'm not the biggest Lions fan this year after they beat the 49ers, and they kind of shoved it in our faces thinking, yeah, we're the big team in the NFC now. I mean, they could say that, but the 49ers team was just defeated this season. They had so many injuries.
When you're vacationing in the same spot, you can't talk trash.
Yeah. See you later, Lions. We're talking about a couple more stats. Jared Goff didn't have a good game at all. 3 interceptions in the game. He passed for 313 yards. 1 touchdown, but like we said, the Washington defense was basically lights out. I think a couple of these interceptions that Goff threw weren't great decisions. Safe to say he had probably an off game. But Brian Robinson for the Commanders, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then Jahmyr Gibbs, probably the best player on the Lions offense and one of the best running backs in the league. I think you can easily say, like you're saying, it's a top-heavy running back league. Jahmyr Gibbs is a guy that. This is a second-year player, rushed for 105 yards in this divisional game with 2 tutties. He put this team on the back, and yeah, I was going to say something else, but I'm just going to stop there.
without Montgomery to back him up too, which is that 1-2 tandem has been key for the Lions' success, I think, all year. But Goff, again, the interception bug got him.
Yeah.
It actually got him this time because he threw 5 picks against, I don't remember what team that was, but they still ended up winning.
Yeah. It just shows teams that, such as the Lions, the lost, I think they had 14-3 this season. The Commanders just were on fire towards the end of the season, and as you can see, the Lions just kind of dropped off. It's a lot of the times, too, teams like this, it's hard sometimes when your fire kind of starts going out and then other teams' fires just start picking up at the right time,
Yeah, and again, the line just running out of steam. You hate to see it too with all the injuries. You like if a team's going to lose, you'd rather it happen with a healthy team, good team. But I mean, karma.
Karma.
You want to call it karma for what happened with the Niners. I mean, I'm happy with calling it that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too. And finally, or not finally, we're getting to the AFC side of things. Chiefs-Texans game. I mean, I think the whole country was rooting for the Texans outside of Kansas City.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, I mean, with all this, people want to call it black magic that this Chiefs team has had this whole season. It's the ways they've won this season. It doesn't seem like they should have been 15-2 this season. They beat the Texans 23-14. I think it was a given. I had the Chiefs winning this game, but I was just praying that the Texans could win, praying that C.J. Stroud can do something. But, I mean, the main thing here, once again, was the Chiefs' defense. They stifled the Texans with 9 sacks in the game. And, Jacob, I was watching towards the end of the game, the last drive I think that the Texans had. They were talking about how the defense blitzed them. Steve Spagnuolo blitzed them 5 times in a row. And just there was like 3 out of the 5 times they had it, there was a defender that was just unblocked and got to C.J. Stroud every time. So
yeah, it's hard to throw the ball off your back.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You can't be jeetering throws out there when there's 3 defenders surrounding you. So
absolutely.
Unfortunately, the Chiefs packed the Texans' bags.
They packed the Texans' bags.
I like
Texans,
my suitcase.
you got to go to Cabo to pack your suitcase up. You're out of here. I was rooting for the Texans, as 99% of the country was. C.J. Stroud, 245 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, unfortunately. He didn't have the greatest season after that great rookie campaign that he had the season before. And Mahomes, 177 yards, 0 touchdowns as well. He didn't have that great of a game.
Having a worse game than C.J. Stroud and still winning is insane.
That just shows how much that Chiefs D really basically won this game for you. And then Travis Kelce, though, also I think he had more of a down year. I think you say maybe it was a Taylor Swift kind of curse for him. But he showed up when it mattered. 7 receptions, 117 yards, and 1 touchdown. So Travis Kelce, I don't really like him that much, but I mean he went off and he was definitely the dog of that game for sure.
I'm not a Philly fan, but Jason Kelce is the better character.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Jason Kelce, I think, is definitely more likable, especially now that Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift. And it just made me not like Taylor Swift because of the whole Chiefs thing and, the history with the Niners. But
yeah, a very unfortunate history, to say the least.
Yeah. And then now I think the most anticipated game of this divisional round, it was basically, even before the Chiefs beat the Texans, it was who was going to be playing the Chiefs in the conference championship game. Bills versus Ravens, and this was a thriller of a game. The Bills packed the Ravens' bag. They won 27-25.
I like my suitcase.
Ravens, you got to go on hiatus. You're going to Cabo this spring. The Ravens' turnovers and the Mark Andrews drop, that's the 2 biggest things in this game.
Yeah.
They talked about Lamar Jackson not having a great first half of the game and, kind of his resume in the playoffs. Not so great. He's won, I think, two playoff games now in his career, but not so great. What do you got to say about that?
I mean, I just think this game was more about, as far as sports writing goes, who's going to win the MVP, who showed up in the playoffs. We know Josh Allen can show up in the playoffs, typically as long as he's not playing the Chiefs. But I think the big thing here, Josh Allen, no interceptions. Lamar with 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Allen, this season in particular, not a lot of interceptions, which has been the key to his success, along with a lot of rushing touchdowns.
Right.
And even a freaking receiving touchdown, which, again, was against the Niners in the snow.
That's right.
But, I love Josh Allen. He's a stud, Cali boy himself.
Mm-hmm.
But Lamar Jackson didn't have a bad game, just, got outplayed. And then the Bills' defense showing up, too. And Mark Andrews dropped. That's
the biggest thing.
Literally the goal line.
Yeah. They were down 27-25 at the end of the game. And Mark Andrews, it was a great play concept. It was like a sprint right kind of option. Lamar Jackson immediately after the snap going to the right. He had Mark Andrews wide open and just fall on his back. Mark Andrews couldn't come down with the ball. I mean, if you're in that situation, if I was Mark Andrews, I don't know how I'd get back on that team playing after that. Potentially tying the game, making it go into overtime. And it was a snow game as well. I mean,
yeah. The weather for this weekend of football was actually really good, really fun to watch.
Yeah.
I caught a lot of highlights,
mm-hmm.
read some stats, but Yeah, that losing drop was kind of a weird catch and like bobble and like almost threw it away in a sense.
Right.
It was very strange. If it was the Chiefs against the Ravens, I would have played the black magic card on that one.
No, yes.
That's what it felt like.
Absolutely. And I saw a thing, Chris Sims, I think, no, that's son of a former cornerback, Phil Sims. He was talking about that play, and he was blaming that play on Lamar Jackson, which is hard to believe. This is what he had to say.
I'm curious about what he had to say.
I was really surprised. He was saying that Lamar Jackson, he like double clutched the ball, and then he threw the ball like a dart, and he was saying for whatever reason, this was the concoction for disaster, I guess, for Mark Andrews being able to catch the ball. But, I mean, he was saying it was kind of a late pass and everything. The way I saw it was he double clutched it, but, I mean, it was a fine pass. He hit him right in the chest, and Mark Andrews couldn't come down with it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because you're in the cold, you don't want it thrown too hard when you're right there, but if you float that too much, it's getting swatted or picked.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it was wrong shoulder or whatever. I don't remember the highlight just from memory like that, but
I mean, I think
it was catchable.
Yeah, it was catchable. He had it right here. His two hands touched it.
Yeah.
It was on his chest, and Mark Andrews dropped it. I mean, potentially, it could have probably lost the Ravens that game. If they go to overtime, who knows what would have happened. But Buffalo Bills are going to the NFC Championship game once again, and I'm excited. Josh Allen and the Bills are probably the one team that I can never really hold a grudge against for beating the Niners, just because it's Josh Allen, Reedley College alum. Obviously, like we were saying, he's a Central Valley boy. I'm rooting for him. He was a former 49er fan when he was little.
That too, yeah.
So, yeah, and I think the whole country is going to be on the side of Josh Allen.
And Bills Mafia. I mean, one of the greatest fan bases in sports. You have, I'm loyal to the family, the A's fans up here, right? And then you got Browns fans, Bills Mafia, even Warriors fans before they won the chip, I would say, along with Kings fans. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's a lot of good fan bases in the U.S.
Yeah. I think the Bills definitely top five for sure.
Top five,
especially in NFL, maybe top three. I mean, these guys are jumping through tables that have fire on them. I mean, I don't know of any franchise that's ever done that before, and I mean, this is a franchise that deserves a Super Bowl, in my opinion. They lost 4 straight. I think it was in the 80s or the 90s, something like that.
I think it was the 90s.
It was the 90s, yeah. I mean, that's just. If you're a Niners fan, you're saying, yeah, we lost 3 Super Bowls. Imagine being a Bills fan losing 4 straight Super Bowls. I mean, I have a family friend who's a Bills fan, so I'm definitely going to be rooting for them as well. But, yeah, the Bills definitely deserve a Super Bowl victory, and, I mean, they never won one before.
Speaking of the Bills' Super Bowl victory, Super Bowl pick. My pick before these games this last weekend was Bills-Lions. That's what everyone wanted. But watching Jaden Daniels now, I mean, Bills-Commanders... That's my want. But I feel like some way, somehow, it's going to be Chiefs, probably Chiefs Commanders, I would say. I'd be surprised if the Commanders get beat. But you just never know.
That's actually my exact pick. So what I want a Bills Commanders Super Bowl. I mean, rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. I think he's also from Southern California. I'm a SoCal boy, so I'd be rooting for him a little bit. Against the Bills, never won a Super Bowl before. That would just be the ideal Super Bowl just for America to start off 2025 in a good place. Yeah. Just having two teams that people both love, quarterbacks that people I feel like both love, would be just a medicine for America, which is something we need and would like to see. And then, but my actual prediction, same as you, Jacob. I'm picking the Chiefs Commanders. I mean the Commanders have just been hot, and just seeing the way Jaden Daniels has been able to act in this playoff atmosphere as a rookie. I mean, it's Brock Purdy-esque, and some could say he might be playing better than Brock Purdy in the playoffs right now. I don't know. I don't have the stats to back that up.
I'm loyal to my QB. I can't say
that. Yeah, that's probably kind of wild for me to say as a 49ers fan, but I mean, just the way he's able to move with his legs as well kind of maybe gives him the leg up. I mean, I just love seeing Jaden Daniels and just this Commanders team, what they've been able to do, Dan Quinn as the head coach. Yeah, and then just the Chiefs. I mean, we saw what happened a few years ago, Chiefs-Bills in the championship game, back and forth, going into overtime. I mean, the Bills were up by, was it a touchdown or 3 points, I think, going into the last, minute of that game and then going into overtime.
Yeah, and one of my close friends and, well, one of your friends here at school as well, Quinn. Very, very big Bills fan.
Yeah.
Also a Broncos fan, but he's kind of loyal to both of them.
Yeah.
Not like a...
I'm going to have to ask him about that a little bit, because I do remember him when I first met him. He was like, "Yeah, I'm a Broncos fan." And I forgot he was a Bills fan. And then we're talking about the whole Russell Wilson thing, like my freshman or sophomore year, whenever that happened. And then I was like, "He's two fans. So that's something we're gonna have to have him on. I'm gonna have to ask him about that a little bit. Where does he get these two things? I don't want you to spoil it here because I'm sure you know the backstory, but I don't know about that.
Fun little backstory, but he's loyal to both teams very much. So ride or die, and the Bills are still winning franchise because it's fun to see him be able to see his team succeed, especially with the Broncos this year sneaking into the playoffs. Bodacious, but yeah, hopefully Bills Commanders Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What was your take before this weekend of football?
Before this weekend, I think I had Lions. Let me think. I think I had Lions Chiefs or Lions Bills. I can't remember my thing, but I think I definitely had Lions on the NFC.
Similar picks.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, similar picks again. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like just with Dan Campbell and everything. And side note here, Jacob, I don't know what we're going to do about this, but I realized that I didn't press record on this, so we don't have any of our audio on our microphone. It's all on the phone right now. That's why I put my hands on my face a couple seconds ago.
Oh, well, now do we have audio levels?
Well, now it's recording.
Welcome to the Perch. I'm Jacob Greene, joined here by Cole McMahon, now with clear audio in our mics. And maybe we'll reshoot this, maybe we won't, but let this all be a lesson to you kids. Even the finest digital media students. It's all a learning curve.
Yeah.
Plus, it's like 9:30 at night.
Yeah, we won't reshoot this, but I think I'll just hopefully the audio picks up decently on there, and I can adjust it on there, and then I'll add the sound effects. So then let's just continue forward after that.
This is where experience in digital media comes in handy. You have a very diverse background of experiences that hop into this, and I think now's a great time too to mention you mentioned you only did color commentary for football, but you did actually hop in on a basketball broadcast at one point, so gotta throw that in there.
I did. Yeah, I guess I could talk about that a little bit before we get into the rest of the basketball things. Basketball, I've never been an avid basketball watcher. I would say I'm a Warriors fan. I watched a couple of their championship runs with one of my best buddies, Matthew Coleman, who's a diehard Warriors fan. He's not a bandwagon. He's been watching them since he was like 6 years old or whatever like that, and he could back up on that and everything. But yeah, basically my resolution, as I'm rambling on, was to watch more basketball this year. Unfortunately, the Warriors aren't too good this year, but I've been watching a little bit with my teammate Cam. Shout out Cam Erickson, big Warriors fan as well. So I'm starting to learn a little more about basketball and everything. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I was on the broadcast with you.
Gotta have you back on a broadcast now that you're picking up some stuff.
Yeah, I'm picking up a little bit of here and there. I was the color guy for that one.
Yeah.
I think I only do one game or two. I think I only did one.
I think it was one or two, or maybe one women's, one men's, something like that.
Something like that. And yeah, it was a fun time, It was 90% Jacob talking and 10% of him. Cole, what did you see on that play? Yeah, the dude, he really dribbled the ball well, and he shot it, and it went down into the hoop. I mean, it was great. I even brought out, I made a couple shots like that back in my middle school PE days. Oh, yeah. I think I said something like that.
Commentary like that.
Yeah, obviously I don't know a lot about basketball. It was fun to do, for sure. I definitely know a lot more about football, so when I was doing the color commentary for that, I feel like I had a little bit more knowledge, and so it was a little more enjoyable, hopefully, for the fans. But hopefully the fans for the basketball broadcast enjoyed the little knowledge that I had, and hopefully they got a good chuckle out of that.
I hope so, because it was quite colorful commentary.
Yeah,
to say the least.
So since we're talking about basketball, the home conference openers for our men's and women's basketball teams. The women's team beat Cal Maritime 78-59. They put a whipping on them a little bit. And the leading scorer, Anna Marshall, Jacob, who's the broadcast for that game, 24 points, 8 field goals made, 3 3-pointers made, and 6 free throws. And to top it all off, today it was announced that she won CalPAC Offensive Player of the Week. Jacob, what do you got to say about that?
I think she could have gotten Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week because it felt like every couple sentences I was saying Marshall on either one side of the court or the other, making defensive stops. She was scoring points. She was going up 1-on-2, throwing shots up, and she ended up having 24 points, 8 field goals made, 3 from deep, and then 6 free throws. And I had at halftime. I have the halftime sheet here. provided by Sam Nakata, Simpson baseball alum.
Thank you, Sam.
Right here, I have circled at halftime the Red Hawks were 1 of 8 from downtown. That was the only thing I circled that I said improve on. Another thing to note, Nikki Thompson, who was the Calpac Defensive Player of the Week, I believe it was last week.
It was last week, yeah.
12 boards, 4 steals, 15 points, 9 defensive boards, 3 offensive. So a couple of standout athletes for the women's basketball team. Those Red Hawks definitely tearing it up on the hardwood.
Yeah, the women's team, 8-6 this season, 2 games above 500. They're having a pretty solid season. I mean, shout out to them. We'll move into the men's basketball game. Unfortunately, they were the game right after, and they lost to Cal Maritime only by 5, 64-59. When I first walked in, I got there a little late. My bad. They were down 27, but then they made the game competitive for the longest time. And here's a little stat right here, provided also by Sam Nakata. You can read it in the post-game article that he wrote. They had a late second-half run, a 16-3 run for the Red Hawks, but it was unfortunately not enough to top off that comeback that we were trying to make. And Timothy Parker led the team with 20 points. That was a guy that you saw all game long. He was on fire. He had his X factor on. Jacob, what do you got to say?
Yeah, so we were talking about it before the show, actually. Funny enough, the women's basketball team would just not let Cal Maritime, the Keel Haulers. Shout out Vallejo, California, university right down the road from me, down there in the North Bay. But, yeah, they just couldn't pull quite within a reachable distance, and as soon as they got any sort of momentum, the Red Hawks would pull away. The kind of opposite thing happened with the men's game. As soon as they would get close, the Keel Haulers would put up a 3 or just get a defensive stop. Funny enough, both Red Hawk teams, I should say, were in a full court zone press whenever the Keel Haulers they would try these very quick offensive schemes and just kind of run down court, run a pick and roll or anything like that. And the only way the Red Hawks could stop it was either hop into a zone, which is, if we had a whiteboard, it'd be a 2-3 zone most of the time, or a full court zone press.
We'll get a whiteboard one day.
Yeah, when we
move production studios.
Yeah, we'll break down those zone defense for you. I'll teach you a little basketball.
Yeah, I like that.
Get you
be like the John
Gruden
of basketball. Got me feeling nicey.
Put that as a sound too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, another thing too was just the bigs for Cal Maritime were a little too big for our Red Hawk.
Yeah,
Red Hawks.
If I chip in there a little bit, just like watching the game when I first got there, you could see just this notable size difference between the Keel Haulers and the Red Hawks. Definitely had a little taller guys, a little bigger guys compared to our guys. No knock to our guys at all, but I mean, you just see kind of like the physical matchup against them.
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do when you're in the paint or on the block right there. And they actually brought in Osumanu Nuhu, who's a little bit of a bigger 5 for us, center. I'm pretty sure you know that, though.
Yeah.
Just wanted to double check. All our viewers at home, 5 center, whatever. Yeah, just be able to work around that, not get fouls, make sure you're making those shots. We really only have, I'd say, 2 true bigs, other than our other big, who I believe is working through an injury right now, Drew Parker.
Yes.
I think so. I
think
think
so.
Drew Parker.
Sounds
Don't
right.
want to get names wrong. So shout out Drew. And then Sam Shields also is kind of like a 4-5, like a forward almost, less of a big. But he can get in the paint. He can scrap with some of those bigs on other teams as well. So I think that's a key heading into this UC Merced game is be able to utilize those bigs down in the paint. You got to make those shots when you're up close like that. There's a couple missed shots by Jace Mills. Not in crunch time or anything, but just kind of kills the tempo when you're posting up like that. So hopefully they can capitalize on their utilization of the bigs in the next game, because that really is the key to their game. And the 3-ball. They did not shoot the 3-ball well, and they did not shoot a lot of them. If I had to guess, probably like under 10 3-ball attempts.
Yeah.
And Dre Ubas.
Dre, he's the one. He's their sharpshooter, right? He's the one that's supposed to be hitting all those all the time.
Definitely should be hitting all those. He was kind of in foul trouble all night long. Unfortunately, he started off with like 3 fouls with 8 minutes left to go in the first half. Still, I think something crazy like that. So definitely want to avoid that. I think that's a key for Dre specifically in Coach Cone, is just keep Dre out of foul trouble. That kind of controls the game right there. He's being him being the number one scorer, but he's leading the team in fouls now, I believe, after this game.
Oh, wow.
Him and Sam Shields, so definitely not something you want to keep going.
Yeah, just got to work on that a little bit, as both the men's and women's teams are going to be facing UC Merced this next weekend coming up. Now, let's talk about what was going on this last night. Tonight, the College National Championship, Ohio State, Notre Dame. They were 13-2, the Buckeyes were, and Notre Dame was 14-1 going into this game. And Ohio State, I think, like most of the country expected, they beat them 34-23. It was a better game, than I expected. I was expecting Ohio State to also win. I was rooting for Notre Dame. I think a lot of people in the country too were.
As a Michigan fan myself, I was rooting for Notre Dame, and one of those Ohio State losses was to Michigan this year. So, I mean, basically Michigan won the college natty if we beat,
Basically,
so we went back to back. That's where my head's at with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
Notre Dame, I just like them. Joe Montana, obviously, greatest quarterback ever. Got to root for Notre Dame. And the Irish, I'm Irish, so yeah. Some stats here. Will Howard, yeah, that's his first name.
Yeah, Will Howard.
17 for 21, 231 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Had a great game. We were talking about earlier before this. He had the 70-yard bomb, and that was kind of to ice the game. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah,
or?
I would say it was. I think it was a 3rd and 10, a 3rd and 15. They'd run 3 consecutive quarterback sneaks, I believe, and they called a little one-on-one matchup. Notre Dame playing man defense on Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
And it was just a nice little route. Got enough space. Will Howard let it rip. 70-yard bomb. Caught it. Stayed just around the numbers. Was tackled around the 10. And then they kind of ran the clock out in inside of the red zone right there, and then kicked a field goal to, really punch the ticket for the championship, I would say.
Pretty much.
But from there, Notre Dame tried like 2 plays in with like 30. I think it was 28 seconds left. They had 2 plays to run and just nothing there.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the stats right here, Ohio State, obviously, it wasn't that close of a game, but the stats just make it look like Ohio State completely dominated this game. They had 445 total yards. Notre Dame only had 308. But then the biggest stat right here, rushing yards. Ohio State had 214, while Notre Dame only had 53. Ohio State held them to 53 rushing yards. And if you can't run the football, chances are you're not going to be winning games. Riley Leonard threw for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Watching the game, I thought he had a pretty solid game. He was using his legs as well. He was their leading rusher with 40 yards and a touchdown on his feet. Notre Dame's running backs just didn't get anything going. Price had 13 yards on 3 attempts. His longest run was 9 yards. So Leonard, was the whole run game for Notre Dame. And after that, Ohio State becomes the national championship champions. So congratulations, Ohio State. And that concludes a fun college football season. I don't know, what are your predictions for next college football season? I'm not really too big into college football, so I don't know who the big teams are going to be next year. I'm assuming Ohio State will be back up there again.
Yeah, I think Ohio State will continue to do things. Notre Dame, I believe, as well. Apart from that, Oregon's always in. They're always around. Michigan, I hope, does something a little bit more than they did this year. Texas, I think, with Arch Manning at the helm.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Pretty good, leading them that quarterback position. But other than that, kind of similar. Not, I'm big on college football, but just kind of watch it for fun. Don't really analyze it too much, unlike the NFL.
Right.
Watch Michigan, which this year was not as fun as it was last year.
Yeah. Yeah, go San Diego State. That's my team. All right, now moving forward, after all this college football talk and all this football talk, today's January 20th. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but it was also another big important day for America. It was Inauguration Day. President Donald Trump is becoming the 47th president, and we're not going to be going into this whole inauguration, but we have a little fun segment here called If You Were President. So I'm going to be asking Jacob a couple questions about if he were president, and I kind of base these questions off of what happened in the inauguration today. I watched it this morning, and there's a couple interesting things things that happen. A couple funny things. Obviously, Trump's got just a wild vernacular and just things that he likes to talk about, and things that he wants to get done for this country. So let's get right to it. If you're president, Jacob, would you forget to put your hand on the Bible when you were getting sworn in? If you guys didn't see it, Donald Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible. I don't know. I don't think it was intentional. I'd hope it wasn't. But he just had his right hand in the air, and Melania just had the Bible right there. And I don't know. So, Jacob?
Huh?
So, before I get into that.
You didn't see that.
I did not see that.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
I took constitutional law this past semester. Shout
Okay.
out Dr. Brasher. I feel like that's still an oath. Like, you're still the president.
Okay.
But there's a part of me that was like, does that actually make it constitutionally binding that he's the president right now?
I had a thought like that too.
I just wonder. So maybe we'll bring that back next show or something too, and just a little callback. But I feel like, well, you've called a fair amount of games with me, and I called baseball games over the summer. I'm a very structured person. Like, I have a Google Calendar. Everything's organized. It's organized to how my brain works though. Sometimes that means stuff is not always the most efficient way. I would definitely, I feel like, forget to put my hand, like a small thing like that. I would just forget to do it. There's been times I've said just like, oh, I think, this, that, or whatever on air or something like that. And then you check your notes and you're like, oh, I had an opposite. So just kind of like weird, I don't know exactly what the word would be for that, but just like fumbles and
a little stressful situation, a lot going on. Oh, just your hands just dangling there. Personally, I feel like I would be so stressed out, like if not to forget to put my hand on the Bible, that'd make sure it was on there. Because in my mind, I was thinking, if you don't put your hand on the Bible, like, are you actually going to get sworn in as president? Like, I feel like some people would say, like, oh, it's not going to be, like, he's not actually president. He didn't put the hand on the Bible. Like, I mean, I feel like I was looking, I saw that. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, am I, like, going crazy right now? And, like, try to go scroll through Twitter or X, and then there was nothing on it until, like, 7 hours later, and people were like, oh, look, you didn't do that. I'm like, I was the first one to see that. I probably should have reported it first.
Yeah, you should have tweeted it. You could have gone viral.
I should have. I probably would have, because I was like, I didn't see anything, so I was like, oh, maybe he did put it on. The camera angle was weird. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. He didn't put his hand on the Bible, and I don't know if that's ever happened with the 47 presidents we've ever had. Okay, let's get on to the next question, Jacob. Who would you have sing the national anthem / America the Beautiful, which is what Carrie Underwood sang today, a cappella? And if you didn't see it, I recommend go watching it, because I think the music wasn't working and she sang it and it was just beautiful. So who would be your artist that you'd want to sing these two things at your inauguration?
Well, I mean, Carrie Underwood, that's a great choice, first of all. Second of all, the fact that she did it a cappella, that's insane. And coming from American Idol, I mean, talk about the American dream right there. That's America right there. But I think Stapleton's rendition of the national anthem, I believe it was the MLB All-Star game.
I think so.
Chris Stapleton would probably be my pick.
That'd be your number one.
Yeah.
Right
or Carrie
on.
Underwood. Like, it'd be one of those two.
I mean, Carrie Underwood does do the Sunday Night Football anthem.
That
so.
too. I feel like if I'm president, I'm a football fan. You got to be like, oh, Carrie Underwood. But, like, Chris Stapleton has, he's got a great voice. But then also, like, my favorite artist is Luke Combs. Favorite singer, I should say, Luke Combs. So it'd be kind of,
You got some good options there.
Yeah.
All right. And now we got the final one here. Would you rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America to assert U.S. dominance?
Without getting too political, no. I think there's better ways to assert U.S. dominance, specifically over Mexico.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. That's my constitutional law brain is kind of churning.
I would have to say, out of not even anything political, as I'm a person that hates change, and so I've known the Gulf of Mexico to be the Gulf of Mexico for as long as I've been alive, and I think it's been the Gulf of Mexico ever since, like, Mexico has been a thing. So I don't understand, like, the political significance to changing it to Gulf of America. I'm assuming President Trump just wants to be like, yeah, we're America, we're awesome, and we're going to do this and take that Mexico for whatever reason. But I would prefer it to stay the same, and I think we would find better ways to, if we wanted to assert U.S. dominance.
Yeah.
I like Gulf of Mexico, bottom line, and I don't think they should change it to the Gulf of America, just because I don't like change. But yeah.
To backtrack a little bit, who would you pick for national anthem and America the Beautiful?
Ooh.
We can't say Beastie Boys.
I was literally gonna say that. I was like, I would bring back Ad Rock or MCA and have the Beastie Boys sing both of them. I think that'd be legit. I mean, just imagine that. But shoot, now I'm gonna have to think because I had that answer in my head.
That's exactly why I said don't say
That's
Beastie
good.
Boys.
Yeah, I'm a big Beastie Boys fan. Dang, I'm gonna have to think about this for a second. I mean, I'm really old school too. Maybe Frank Sinatra, if he was still alive, I'd like to have him.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah,
I do like Frank Sinatra. His very smooth voice, and he's one of my favorite artists. If I got to go with someone alive, let me think. Someone that's alive right now. Taylor Swift, nah. Carrie Underwood. I mean, you can't go wrong with her.
Yeah,
Definitely for her, but shoot, I'll just say Olivia Rodrigo. I don't know, just because I can't really think of another artist right now that.
it's a wild pick, actually.
Yeah, I'm not really into a lot of like the music going on right now. I don't know. I don't have like a top artist. I would say
That'd be a fun segment.
yeah, we should do that sometime for sure.
Do a lot
I'm
of
just
things.
gonna go Olivia Rodrigo for some reason because that was the first name that popped in because I had the Beastie Boys all set and ready to go, but Jacob said no. So
I knew it was locked. I was like, that won't be as entertaining. We all
Yeah.
know it'd be Beastie.
all right. So if you're president, great segment. Finally,
keep that one going.
Yeah, we gotta keep that one going. To wrap it up here, guys, we're going to just talk about some of the upcoming Simpsons sporting events this week. The baseball team, they're going to be starting their season January 23rd. They're heading to Arizona, leaving on Wednesday morning, and they're going to be joining this Coach Caldron Invitational, where they'll be playing Arizona Christian, Nelson University, Oklahoma Panhandle State University as in a doubleheader, and then Ben U, who used to be in the Cal Pac, is going to be another doubleheader. Great way to start the Red Hawks season for baseball. On the road in Arizona. Should be a fun trip. Stay tuned for more information about that. Be sure to stay up to date about the scores and root on your baseball boys. Next, Simpson Cheer is also going to be on the road for their first competition of the season. They're headed to Des Moines, Iowa, in their first competition this Sunday at Grandview University. And I believe there's going to be a link on the SimpsonRedHawks.com for the live stream for that. I'm not sure if you have to pay for it, but be sure to root on the Simpson Cheer team for their first competition of the season as well. And then the Simpson Bass team. Jake, I'll let you take away that.
Yeah, so the fishing team on the home water, Shasta Lake, January 26th, so this coming weekend, BAM Scholastic event, so Bass Angler Magazine, and our assistant coach helps run those. It's the first of a 6-event tour. One of our anglers, Brennan Osborne, is fishing it as a pro, and also the twins, Aiden and Dylan Grad, who have been on a tear to start the season, finishing in the top 10, and I think pretty much every tournament they've fished, and they fished about 8 or 9. They just came off of a big win at Potholes, and yeah, I'm excited to see what they'll do on Shasta. I'm not fishing this particular tournament trail, but it'll be a fun event.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Speaking of the Simpson Bass team too, I know you're an avid advocate for the Bass team to get more just promotion at Simpson. I agree with you because every sport is equal. I think we got to get the Bass team out there. Bass fishing is a sport. I'm with you there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And so, yeah, basically, those are some of the big events going on for teams that are going to be starting off their season. I hope I'm not missing any other teams. I might be. But just be sure to stay up to date. Simpson Athletics on Instagram. Your specifics, baseball, softball, whatever Instagrams, bass fishing Instagrams, just be sure to stay up to date with that, guys. And that's pretty much the wrap for the Perch, the first episode, a Hawk's Eye view of SU. Jacob, how do you think we did?
Hopefully pretty well after the sound got a little bit clearer. And also self-plug, SimpsonUSlate.com, and then also I believe it's Simpson Slate on Instagram. We repost everyone's socials, including baseball, which I believe you're still running that page.
I am running that page, and I hope to be a little more active this year to put that a little bit on my resume, as we're seniors this year.
Got a resume build as digital media students.
Absolutely. So, yeah, the Perch, we plan on having more guests, more fun, and more segments coming up for sure.
And more sports.
Absolutely more sports. This is what it's all about, guys. The Perch, we're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be on the Slate Instagram, I think. Stay tuned. Hopefully, we're going to try to do this maybe bi-weekly, maybe monthly, but this is the first one. We'll have all the details hammered out. Just be sure to stay up to date. It'll be on the slate. I think we're going to be posting stuff on there.
We'll pull some clips.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a better job at making sure that the audio is playing on here this time. It's going to be fun editing this once you're going to hear the iPhone quality compared to the microphone quality. But guys, that's going to do it for the Perch. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, wherever you're going to be viewing this. I'm Cole McMahon with Jacob Greene, signing out. Talk to you guys later.